Ferrari thought Lewis Hamilton's biggest problem in Hungary was the penalty. It was not. The real danger was hidden inside the tires. Traffic and a red flag had already stopped Ferrari from fully understanding its long-run performance. Then Hamilton was dropped from second to fifth, pushed into dirty air, and forced into a race where tire behavior became even harder to predict. The car had speed, the strategy had pressure, and one missing piece of information turned every decision into a risk. By the finish, Hamilton was fifth, Leclerc was fourth, and Ferrari had lost the podium opportunity it believed was within reach. But the most important clue was there before the race even started. Subscribe to the channel. To understand why the tires became such a serious concern, we have to go back to Friday, when Ferrari looked much stronger than anyone expected. Lewis Hamilton finished first in the second practice session. Charles Leclerc finished second. A Ferrari won too, on a circuit where confidence can disappear in a single corner. That result immediately created hope. The car looked balanced. The front responded. The rear appeared calmer. Hamilton and Leclerc could push without constantly fighting the steering wheel. For once, Ferrari did not look like a team searching for performance. It looked like a team that had already found it. But Fred Vasseur refused to celebrate. He recognized the pace. He recognized the balance. He also recognized something much more dangerous. Ferrari did not have the full picture. Traffic had interrupted the session. A red flag had broken the longer runs. And that meant the team could see how fast the car was over a short distance, but not exactly how the tires would behave across an entire race. That difference matters. A Formula One car can feel perfect for one lap. The tires are fresh. The fuel load is different. The driver can attack without worrying about saving performance for later. But a race is not one lap. A race is about what happens after the tires begin to heat, after the grip begins to change, and after the driver has spent several laps behind another car. Think of a new pair of shoes. They may feel perfect when you first put them on, but after walking for several miles, pressure points begin to appear. The problem was always there. You simply needed more time to discover it. Ferrari did not get enough of that time on Friday. And this is where the uncertainty became important. The car looked fast, but Ferrari did not fully understand how that speed would survive over a long stint. The team still needed to know how quickly the tires would lose performance. It needed to know how much traffic would affect the balance. It needed to know whether the car would remain stable once the rubber began to age. Those questions were still open, and then qualifying created an even bigger problem. Hamilton delivered the lap Ferrari needed. He qualified second. For a brief moment, the team had the perfect position. A front row start, clean air, fewer cars ahead, a much simpler strategy. Then the stewards intervened. Hamilton was judged to have unnecessarily impeded Oscar Piastri during the final part of qualifying. The punishment was free grid positions. Second became fifth. That changed much more than the starting order. It placed Hamilton directly inside the conditions Ferrari understood least. Traffic, disturbed air, more pressure on the tires, more uncertainty over the long run. The exact questions Ferrari had failed to answer on Friday were now going to decide Hamilton's Sunday. That was the hidden danger. From second, Hamilton could have controlled his own pace. He could have protected the tires. He could have used clean air to keep the car inside its strongest operating window. From fifth, he had to follow other cars. And when one Formula One car follows another closely, the airflow becomes unstable. The front wing receives less clean air. The car loses grip through the corners. The tires begin to work harder. The driver may still have speed, but using it becomes more expensive. That creates a painful contradiction. Hamilton needed to stay close enough to attack, but staying close could overheat the tires. If he backed away to protect them, the cars ahead could escape. If he pushed harder, the performance might disappear later. Every option carried a cost, and Ferrari did not have complete long-run information to guide those choices. That was the real problem. The team knew the car was competitive. It did not know exactly how much punishment the tires could survive in traffic. And once Hamilton was trapped behind other cars, that missing knowledge became impossible to ignore. Ferrari could stop him early. Fresh tires might give him a chance to escape the traffic. But an early stop would create a longer final stint. The tires would need to survive for more laps. If they faded too soon, the entire advantage could disappear before the finish. Ferrari could leave him out longer. That might protect the tires and create a different opportunity later. But every extra lap behind another car risked losing more time. There was no perfect answer, only risk. And while Ferrari tried to solve Hamilton's race, Leclerc was still close enough to fight for the podium. That made the situation even more complicated. Hamilton needed recovery. Leclerc needed protection. Hamilton needed the team to create movement. Leclerc needed the team to preserve position. One driver needed aggression. The other needed control. And when two cars need different things, every decision becomes heavier. A pit call for Hamilton could affect Leclerc's traffic. A defensive decision for Leclerc could reduce Hamilton's options. A delayed stop could protect one driver while exposing the other. Ferrari had two competitive cars, but it did not have one simple race. It had two separate battles, connected by tire life, traffic, and timing. That gave McLaren something Ferrari did not have: freedom. The cars ahead could manage their tires. They could watch Ferrari's decisions. They could react after Ferrari moved. Ferrari had to act first, and the team that acts first usually takes the greater risk. That was why the tire uncertainty mattered so much. Ferrari was not only guessing how long the performance would last, it was making those guesses while McLaren controlled the race from a stronger position. Hamilton could feel the speed. He had already shown it. He had top Friday practice. He had qualified second before the penalty. They could force Hamilton to push in the least comfortable conditions. That is what control looks like in Formula One. It does not always look dramatic. Sometimes, it looks like making the other team choose first. Ferrari had to reveal its plan. McLaren could wait. Ferrari had to gamble on tire life. McLaren could respond with more information. Ferrari had to search for clean air. McLaren already had it. The advantage was not only in speed, it was in certainty. And certainty was exactly what Ferrari lacked. That contrast became more painful with every lap. Hamilton knew the car could be faster. Leclerc knew the podium was close. Vasseur knew the team had entered Sunday without a complete understanding of the longer runs. All three parts of Ferrari were seeing the same race from different positions. The driver felt the limitations. The second car showed what was still possible. The pit wall had to make decisions without complete confidence. That is where tension grows inside a team. Not because anyone lacks effort. Not because the car is completely uncompetitive. But because everyone can see the opportunity while nobody can control it. Hamilton's frustration was not created by one bad lap. It was created by repetition. Lap after lap, the Ferrari remained close enough to create hope. Lap after lap, the race refused to open. The gap looked manageable. The opportunity looked possible. Then the tires needed protection. Then the traffic returned. Then the strategic window narrowed. The race kept offering just enough hope to make the eventual result more painful. And Leclerc's position made the situation even more uncomfortable. He remained close to the podium. That proved Ferrari had not disappeared. The car was still competitive. The team was still involved. But being involved is not the same as winning the fight. Leclerc finished fourth. Hamilton finished fifth. Those results showed strength. They also showed the exact distance between Ferrari and a fully controlled weekend. That distance was not enormous. That was the problem. Ferrari was not missing seconds of pace. It was missing clarity. It was missing freedom. It was missing the ability to make one confident decision that changed the race. The margins were small, but small margins decide everything. One lap in traffic can cost tire life. One tire losing performance can change the pit window. One delayed stop can change the rejoining position. One changed position can decide whether the driver has clean air. Every detail connects. And in Hungary, those connections became impossible to escape. The tire uncertainty did not exist alone. It was linked to the red flag on Friday. It was linked to the traffic in practice. It was linked to Hamilton's lower starting position. It was linked to the difficulty of overtaking. It was linked to McLaren's stronger control of the race. Each problem led directly into the next. That is why the weekend felt like a chain reaction. Ferrari did not lose the result in one obvious moment. The team lost control in stages. First, it lost information. Then it lost track position. Then it lost strategic freedom. Then it lost the ability to use the speed it had already found. By the time the final laps arrived, Ferrari was no longer fighting for the result it had imagined on Friday. It was defending what remained, and that changed the emotional meaning of fourth and fifth place. Normally, those positions can look useful. They bring points. They show consistency. They keep both cars near the front. But Hungary was different. Ferrari had started the weekend with a 1-2 in the second practice session. Hamilton had qualified second before the penalty. Leclerc had remained competitive. The podium had felt possible. That is why the final positions felt less like a result and more like evidence. Evidence that Ferrari had speed. Evidence that Ferrari still had operational weaknesses. Evidence that the team could enter the correct performance window, yet still lose the weekend when uncertainty appeared. That is a serious warning, because finding speed is only the first step. The team must understand it. It must know how the car behaves when the fuel changes. It must know how the tires respond in traffic. It must know when the performance will arrive. And it must know when that performance will begin to disappear. Without that knowledge, even a fast car becomes unpredictable. And an unpredictable advantage is difficult to trust. That is what Ferrari must take from Hungary. The car was not the disaster. The lack of certainty was. The team had enough pace to create expectation. It did not have enough control to protect that expectation. And for Hamilton, that may have been the most frustrating part of all. He did not need Ferrari to find a miracle. The performance was already there. He needed the team to understand exactly how to use it. Hungary showed how close Ferrari may be. It also showed how far the team still has to go. Because the final problem was never only about tires. It was about everything those tires revealed. The interrupted practice, the incomplete long-run picture, the pressure of starting fifth, the traffic, the limited strategy, the lost control. All of it led to the same conclusion. Ferrari had built a car capable of fighting near the front. But when Sunday demanded complete understanding, the team was still searching for answers. And until Ferrari can turn speed into certainty, every strong weekend will carry the same danger. The car may arrive, the opportunity may appear, but the result can still disappear before anyone realizes it is gone.